Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the number one network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys from down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond in London, England, as well as Paris, France. And, of course, you good old boys down south. There's no one I love more than you good old boys down south on the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for all you good old boys down south? We got you, Big C? I think Big C, we lost his mic, but we'll get it back on the track again. Oh, there you go. I think you was. Yeah, I thought I lost you a little bit. I know sometimes you take a little sip before the show, Big Z. I said, man, that weather down south is something else. I just down in Los Angeles just a couple of days ago, back up in Northern California to watch the Golden State Warriors, crown their celebration parade over in the East Bay, and a lot of people showed up for that, Big C, and got some good things going on in the world of golf. We know that's happening across the country. LeBron James, talk about him going, other places, maybe L.A. This great fight coming up is more of a stage fight between the UFC and boxing with Floyd Money Mayweather and Conor McGregor. So that should be a big money grab. It's going to be set for August 26th. But no matter what happens, we're always going to bring it to you. And today is it is June 15th, 2017. And Big C, I'm just telling you, so much going on. But I want to get your thoughts on Golden State and their celebration. And obviously, this team is built for many, many more to come. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, as long as they can keep the core and a few of the role players intact, this is a team that's built for success, as you indicated. The thing that people don't understand about basketball players and elite basketball players,
yeah,
the max contract is $40 million. So you take a little less. You take between $35 and $37 million. You leave some money out on the table to sign some relief players, the guys who come off the bench and help the organization stay strong.
Yeah.
And that's just tax money. That's all that is. So when you look at what a premium basketball player makes on the court as well as his endorsement money, it's like comparing a basketball player to Tom Brady. It seems like every year he takes a little less money, but he's continuously chasing a championship.
Yeah.
Where you have quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, who is maximizing money every year and can't even be 500.
Yeah.
So you tell me where the true value in having superstars, Charlton, and that's what the Golden States are looking at.
Yeah.
The max money that Kevin Durant and Steph Curry can make, in a year is $40 million.
Yeah.
So if they take $35 million, you think they might miss a meal or two?
No.
I don't think so, Charlton. So, but that's the kind of money you keep Agua Iguodala on the roster, maybe even, a couple of other players, the younger players that you like when they're coming off the bench, David West or, someone else.
Yeah.
But, this is what you look at when you got a team like Cleveland. Cleveland has no cap space.
Yeah.
They're maxed out in salary. Matter of fact, they were paying the luxury tax because they had so much salary.
Yeah.
They were paying out, but it still didn't bring them a championship.
Yeah.
So if you can throttle it back just a little bit to keep a team together, and, when your core players are all under 30 years of age, Charlton, you have a chance to build a legacy. And players want that more than anything else. You can look at the individual awards and, throughout the years, even when I played, players, had individual awards, but the ones who never won a championship always reveled at the guys who did.
That did it, yeah.
When they would see us, and then let me see your ring.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing that players want to see, even though you can't miss a player with a championship ring.
Yeah, that's funny.
But back in the day when we all won our initial championship, Charlton, we had a single diamond in the ring. That signified excellence. That signified number one. That's what that single diamond did. Now, they're over there, robbing diamond mines to make rings.
Yeah.
But,
that's funny.
That's what you look at when you want to build a legacy. Russell Westbrook, you think about it, he'll most likely be the MVP.
Yeah.
But does he have a championship?
No.
No, he doesn't.
No.
And when you look at the team that that played this year's championship, they've been there the last 3 years, Charlton.
Yeah.
Playing against each other. Each one of them, the first 2 years split that.
Yeah.
The thing that they had, the cores of both of those teams, when you saw them compete in this latest championship round, Charlton, they had rings.
Yep.
And that's what they were competing for, to get another ring, Charlton. It wasn't about who was going to be the MVP of the final.
Yeah.
It wasn't about who was going to be the highest scorer in the finals. It was about which team was going to win a ring.
Yeah, that's true, Big C. And just over at the parade today in Oakland, I'll never forget the time when the Lakers won their championship down south, and they had, of course, Magic Johnson, and they had Pat Riley as the head coach. And I remember Magic Johnson guaranteed a repeat, and they got the repeat. And at that parade, they were talking about guaranteeing a three-peat, and they held Magic's mouth. They wouldn't let Magic talk that time, Big C. But obviously, we saw the dynasty that the Lakers built back in the day, down in the 70s and 80s, and it kind of went away in the 90s, but it came back in the 2000s. Ironically, just up north, I-5 going up north to Oakland, California, you have the same type of thing building in Northern California with the Golden State Warriors. And I think the benefit for Golden State, when the Lakers won their championships and they were going for a repeat, their superstars were not under 30. Almost everybody that's significant to Golden State, Big C, they're under 30 years old. And you just mentioned about LeBron. The NBA needs LeBron to be in the championship. And I think we talked about it last week. Going to LA would not make any sense because you don't want to load the NBA Finals with a dominant team from the Western Conference and nobody from the East. I think it makes sense NBA style if they had him stay on the Eastern Conference because at least it's LeBron versus the West Coast. Big C, your thoughts on that one?
Well, Jonathan, it would be nice if he stayed in the East, but he's going to the West after next year. I mean, when he opts out of his contract, he's going out West. You don't spend $20 million on a home just to let it sit out there, and use a couple months out of the year.
Yeah.
Granted, the home he has in Cleveland, he built it for $32 million.
Yeah.
But the one he bought in Los Angeles, he bought that for a reason, Charlton. And it's like when LeBron was in Miami. When LeBron moved, his whole team moved.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When he left Miami, I mean, everybody. His chef, his barber,
yeah.
everybody, his physical therapist, everybody moved back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because they're part of his corporation.
Yeah.
They're paid to take care of LeBron mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And this is what they do. And all of these people are house shopping in Los Angeles right now, Charlton.
Yeah.
They're not house shopping in Los Angeles and say, hey, when we have a West Coast swing, we'll have a
yeah. I tell you, Big.
That's not what they're doing.
And
when you have as people want to call it, Phil Jackson calls it his posse.
His posse, yeah.
In LeBron's layman terms, it's his corporation, which is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Because all of these people are part of what he needs to be successful.
Yeah.
So when they all start house shopping in Los Angeles, there's a reason for that, Charlton.
Well, Big
But,
C.
it does make the NBA weaker if you have these two super teams
Yeah.
on the West Coast, Charlton, because wherever LeBron goes, whether it's Los Angeles Lakers or Los Angeles Clippers, and I think the Clippers would probably be the better fit because with Jerry West
Yeah.
just signing with the Clippers, Jerry West, you think about what Jerry West has done in the NBA. Jerry West built the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay, that super team of the 80s that you talked about that had that rivalry with Boston.
Yeah.
Jerry West left the Lakers and he built the Memphis Grizzlies. Even though they never challenged for a
Yeah.
title, they went from a doormat when they were in Vancouver
A playoff
to a
team.
competitive team in
Yeah.
Memphis in the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
Then not only that, Charlton, he's been the architect of the Golden State Warriors the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you think about the blueprint that Jerry West can lay, and this man is in his late 80s. But to have an eye for talent and coordination in basketball, there's none better than Jerry West. And now that he's moved to the Clippers,
Yeah.
this is a decision that he's going to have to make. Who does he move with the Clippers? And he's going to move a couple players right away. And it's either going to be Chris Paul or Blake Griffin. One of them got to go under Jerry West's tenure.
Yeah.
Because he's about a guy who creates symmetry. And you look at the symmetry that he created with the Golden State Warriors, 2 championships
In 3 years? Yeah.
That's not bad symmetry.
No, that's a very good point, Big C. I want to say, speaking of symmetry, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Even talking about the Golden State Warriors, there's so many people here in Oakland just to celebrate a championship again. in the Bay Area has become accustomed to this, Big C. Over the last 10 years, they've had the San Francisco Giants celebrate 3 championships over the last 8 seasons, Big C. We've had Golden State do it now the second time, and in the last 3 years. And then you always have the Raiders. There's excitement for the Raiders is that they'll get there somehow, some way over the next 2 seasons, that they're in Oakland at least to the AFC Championship game. And again, you have the San Jose Sharks. They went to the Stanley Cup, but they didn't pull it off, Big C. But there's so many things that are here in the Bay Area. And you talked about LeBron going to L.A. Just coming from L.A. and then comparing that to Northern California, there's a lot more water inland in Northern California. All the water in L.A. is on the Pacific Ocean. So there's so many stars that have homes up in the hills in L.A. I think Kobe Bryant lives in Orange County. He doesn't even live near the Staples Arena. But you talked about that thing, the new arena that they have coming to San Francisco. Well, the Clippers, Ballmer's, he wants to build a new arena in Inglewood, which is right next door to the new stadium that they're building for the Raiders. I'm not the Raiders, but the Rams in Los Angeles, Inglewood. So if they can pull that off, again, Big C, he's getting older, though. Can he still be the LeBron James in the next 3 or 4 years if he happens to come out to L.A., Big C? Your thoughts?
LeBron will be a solid player, Charlton, wherever he goes. He still has a good 4 to 5 solid years left in his career. You got to realize he's only 32 years old, so into his mid to late 30s, he will still be a dominant player in the NBA, because Charlton, LeBron is a different type of player. The NBA has allowed him to be a bully throughout his career. So they're not going to take that away from him because it's marquism. And so that's his style that everyone has come to like. They know that he's bigger and stronger than most people that he'll play against. So, he can force his will physically on a lot of players, like Will Chamberlain did. When Will was in the league as a young man, he was so much stronger than anybody that he played against. So he could lean on people and push them the way that he wanted them to go. And so that's what LeBron brings to the equation. And it's like back to the Bay Area when you were talking about championship teams. When you think about what has happened in the Bay Area, back in the 70s, the Oakland A's won 3 titles. The Golden State Warriors won a title, Charlton, back in the 70s. Then you move to the 80s, the Oakland Raiders. Matter of fact, the Raiders won a title in the 70s also. They won a Super Bowl against the Minnesota Vikings down in Pasadena.
79.
So that was 5 championships in the Bay Area, Charlton, during the 70s. You move to the 80s. What did the 49ers win? 4? During the 80s? They won 4. The Oakland Raiders won 1 in Oakland and 1 in L.A. in the 80s. And then you moved along to the 80s. They came back in the 80s again. I believe it was 88 and won the World Series. You talked about the illustrious career that the Giants have had over the past decade, winning 3 World Series. Now the Golden State Warriors winning 2 titles. So this has been an area of championships, y'all. When you look at it in total, these professional teams have put close to a dozen championships together there, for those fans there in the Bay Area. So when you talk about a region of the country having so much to cheer about, and you're separated by a waterway, but it's all one when it comes down to winning. Everybody will gravitate to that other side, and they've been great for the fans of that area. It's just so sad to see the Raiders leaving the state of California. I know Golden State is going across the bay, but just those moves, it's like the 49ers leaving San Francisco, going to Santa Clara. It just didn't have the same feel out at Levi Stadium that it had it originally Candlestick Park, Recon Park, and whatever.com Park.
That's funny. Ironically, you talk about that, and with the Warriors moving, there's always some happy and sadness to it. But I think about San Francisco. They played at Kezar Stadium it's not downtown San Francisco, but it's by the park, over by the zoo in San Francisco, and they moved out to Candlestick Point. Some people didn't like that, Big C, but they got accustomed to it because they started winning, and that's what made people happy. It's just so silly that they took and moved down to Santa Clara, which is their headquarters anyway, but there's a lot not that far from McCovey Cove. You can even see it. There's just warehouses there. And with the ballpark for the Warriors going in just about 4 blocks south of AT&T Park, there's a big lot that could have held a 70,000-seat football stadium, a lot like what they did up in Seattle with Quest Field, and they built that next to Safeco Field for Seattle. But everybody's different, and the people get what they want. But I'm just happy for Golden State. I'm happy for the fans of the East Bay. We talked about it last week, how sometimes people kind of take for granted the East Bay because it costs money crossing the toll going into San Francisco in the peninsula, but it's free to come to the East Bay. When you think about that, you get tax money to go into San Francisco. There's no tax going into Oakland. So no matter what you say, there's just more revenue. No matter which direction you go, there's always more money it's going to cost you going across the Bay Bridge or the Golden Gate or the San Mateo going into San Francisco. So they have a lot more money from the infrastructure point of view. But for Golden State, they're young. They're the new kid on the block. Congratulations to them. They really know how to celebrate championships. So I'm just happy to be a part of that here in Northern California. Big C, I just want to touch on a quick pit stop in the PGA and golf. We just got to get this in. You know, I think Ricky Fowler has a lead right now, and there's still people saying, well, when can Tiger Woods come back and what's going on with Tiger Woods? And Fowler must be thinking, isn't it like the guy that goes to the prom, but you're not with the girl that everybody else wants to be with? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, you know, you look at the PGA Tour, John.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wide open field. You know, Ricky Fowler leading the first round was, you know, -7. And,
Yeah.
you know, everybody is wanting Phil Mickelson to be competitive.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's waiting on Jordan Spieth to show back up.
Yeah.
Sergio Garcia has been absent since winning the Masters.
Yeah.
You know, Jordan Day.
Yeah.
You know,
Jason Day.
hasn't been consistent, even though he's the #1 golfer in the world.
Yeah.
Dustin Johnson.
Yeah.
Ever since that little alcohol
When he fell down? Yeah. Yeah.
Golf low.
Yeah.
It's got lower.
Yeah.
You know, as far as I saw bits and pieces of a tournament this past weekend, Jonathan.
Yeah.
On Sunday, people were leaving after the 16th hole.
Yeah.
They weren't even staying around. There was no excitement about the champion winning.
Yeah.
And so that's where golf is going. If you're not a total golf enthusiast,
Yeah.
and, you know, since Tiger Woods has left, that honeymoon is over.
No, you know.
Regardless of how much people want to berate Tiger Woods, just like they want to berate Colin Kaepernick,
Yeah.
you can't find anybody better than him that was playing where he was playing.
No.
That's the key. You know, we'll look at the San Francisco 49ers this year, and you will find out how good a coach the Shanahan is,
Yeah.
how good a quarterback whoever feels in there is this year, because it wasn't all Colin Kaepernick. And as you look at the PGA chart,
Yeah.
as it goes around the country trying to hang on, I mean, it's on a respirator right now.
Yeah.
As far as attendance, as far as excitement, the announcers can try to make the game sound as exciting as they want.
Yeah.
But it's just not, because every week you got somebody winning that you're like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. And you.
And the guy came up in an RV. He didn't fly in, Jonathan.
Yeah.
He came in an RV.
That's funny.
He's the next champ of the of the PGA.
Yeah, there's a book called Halftime, and it's written by Bob Buford. It's been around. This is the 20th year anniversary of it. Over 750,000 copies sold, and it talks about moving from success to significant. And there's no one in golf right now that makes it significant, because there's no one who's had a meteoric rise. And I think the thing that's hurting golf, as America is more galvanized through diversity, and it's something that the good old boys don't want to let go of. They want to keep that segregated golf event, and it's a dumb thing, because you lose so much money from people who go out there and say, why do I want to pay for something when no one looks like me? No one looks like anything other than that same old eugenic look. And I know that's something the good old boys don't want to look at, but there was a time it benefited them. But as society becomes more global, and people realize they want to be around something that represents society. Going to LA and then being back in the Bay Area, Northern California, you cannot miss the fact that it's so diverse out here. I'm not saying that everybody lives together and sings kumbaya, but I'm just saying it's not different when you see people who look different. When you go to the NBA basketball game, we talked about most of the athletes being African American, but there's still other ethnic groups that make up the NBA, whether they're European or Caucasian, white Americans. You can still go and see a melting pot of your athletes that you can follow all over, you know, from being a young kid to a grown person. Golf has yet to make that statement. They've yet to do what baseball has done, even though baseball did it in the Dominican Republic. They went down and tried to add some color to the game. Why? Because you add more money. You add more interest. I even have white guys telling me, well, we're just waiting to see if Tiger comes back. And then Fowler must feel like he's the guy at the prom, but they didn't have the date that everybody wants to be with. So hopefully golf will figure out how to make the game more colorful. If not, they're going to continue to see the ratings dwindle. And I want to bring up something that might be a little bit shocking to you guys, but I'm sure it's not a shock to you to hear it. I look at Rick Pitino in basketball, one of the greatest coaches of college basketball. No one can deny that. But I look at Rick Pitino, and I know they have some trouble because of the prostitution scandal. And I just kind of feel for him, and part of me doesn't. The part that feels, Big C, is you cannot police what every athlete does that's on your campus. However, when you're making top dollar, you do have a responsibility to know what's going on, Big C. Your thoughts with Pitino and Louisville?
Charlton, let me give you a red flag notice on that Louisville thing when you brought up the incident about the prostitutes and Rick Pitino. He was suspended for the first 5 games of the ACC.
Yeah.
Where they say lack of institutional control.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's 126 Division I schools in the NCAA.
Yeah.
And not counting all the lower levels.
Yeah.
Let me be the first to let you know. That scandal goes on everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know, prostitution was not exclusive to Louisville.
Yeah.
These women showing up were not exclusive to this campus. This has gone on for decades.
Yeah.
That when you bring in prize recruits, you do whatever you can to woo them.
Yeah.
Whether it's money, alcohol, women, all of these things apply, Charlton. There's nothing off the table.
Yeah.
The NCAA for decades has turned a blind eye. You wonder why the big schools keep getting all the
I thought it was because of TV revenue, Big Z. They want to be on TV.
Who's not on television now, Charlton?
Yeah.
ESPN and Fox, ABC, NBC, and whoever else is broadcasting, Cox Cable.
Yeah.
Everybody's on television. But this has gone on for decades. I was recruited years ago, Charlton.
Yeah.
Okay? I can't say what happened, because I still may be under investigation.
Because you don't remember?
Let me use my best analogy. I can't confirm nor can I deny.
Yeah. So you related to Jeff Sessions. I didn't know you were related to Jeff Sessions, Big Z.
But, here's a scenario where Louisville is being used as a scapegoat by the NCAA. They say, okay, we tap Louisville on the back of the wrist and bad boy, bad boy.
Yeah.
Nobody else will have to turn up what they do.
Yeah.
But when you look around every one of these campuses, Charlton, with all these sexual allegations
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, think about this. Michigan State just had 3 players suspended.
Yep.
For sexual misconduct on the football team.
Yeah.
But no one's talking about suspending D'Antoni for the first 2-3 games of the Big Ten.
Nope.
19 teams in the conference football season.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
No one's talking about that. You'll get rid of the young men, but the coach, hey,
Yeah.
it wasn't on his watch. We won't do this. We saw what happened with Bryles down at,
Baylor.
He was terminated.
Yeah.
Because of this went on, Charlton. The swim coach at Stanford, he didn't get suspended after his player had raped this young woman.
No.
And was convicted. So it's all about who the NCAA wants to get.
Yeah.
And if you get a high-profile coach, then that makes the NCAA look good. Look how long they didn't look at Joe Paterno, Charlton.
Yeah.
This went on for decades at Penn State, and people knew about it.
They knew about it, yeah.
The NCAA waited till Joe Paterno passed away, till
Yeah.
he died, before they put any sanctions on Penn State. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't want to tarnish him while he was alive. So this has gone on forever on every level in major college sports, Charlton. I mean, every year there's a dozen or more schools that hit with sexual misconduct allegations.
Yeah.
But we don't see suspensions. But people have been after Rick Pitino for years since he was at Providence coaching. He left Providence, went to the NBA, to the Knicks, came back, went to Kentucky, won a title, went to Louisville, won a title. So there's a lot of people that didn't like Rick Pitino in the SEC and the ACC where he coached. So this is a chance for them to come back and say, we're going to slap you on the back of the wrist a little bit because we know you weren't in the dorm when this was going on.
Yeah.
But the assistant coach was hired by you and the players were recruited by you. So you shouldn't have been at home in your mansion while they were having fun.
And Big C, when you think about it, unfortunately, President of the United States, Donald Trump, can't say anything to help kind of set an example for the tone. And I want to bring that up because if you're a young boy, and we know that young men don't go into anything that they created. They don't have any money. They don't have any power. They don't have any pull. They can't call someone and have them turn the other eye. And we know that grown men who are established in communities, they can do that. They already have it set up in every segment of society. There's always someone that has that red light on somewhere, and they can go there and influence people to do things for them that the public says, oh my God, I can't believe prostitution goes on in America. Well, of course it goes on all over the world. But I just hate when someone like Louisville in Pitino's name, when they could name everybody, if they could, let's just be honest, they could go into every nook and cranny and find half of the schools doing the same thing. So I know it's like speeding, though. Yeah.
You know, look at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
Just sentenced 3 people from Penn State.
Yeah.
Three administrators, okay?
Yeah.
That got jail time on this Joe Paterno incident. You don't want to know why?
Why?
How did Joe Paterno get paid?
Yeah.
Who okayed his and Sandusky's salary?
Yeah.
These administrators, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the money that the assistant coach was able to receive, who allocated the budget for the basketball program?
Yeah.
The administrators at UCLA, at Louisville.
Louisville, yeah.
You're going to tell me that the administrators are not as culpable as Rick Pitino in this scenario, Charlie?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the money didn't start with him. It came from above him. So, you know, to have him as a stopgate, to say, okay, well, we'll get Pitino and we won't look into administration.
Yeah.
Who is supposed to be watching Pitino, the dean, the president, the vice president.
Yep.
All these people are overseers of Pitino. So some of these people have to be responsible also.
Yeah.
Like Pitino, can they be suspended from a month from the job?
Yeah.
Just like him being suspended for 5 games. You can't stop with just a head coach. Even at Baylor, when they got rid of Browns, they got rid of the chancellor.
Yeah.
And the president, all those people, they had to go. Same as at Penn State, people had to go. You just can't stop with a coach when an incident occurs, Charlton. You have to look further than him because the people that are paying him and overseeing him had a short sight of their own. And so they're just as responsible as these coaches are.
Yeah, and when you think about it, too, back in the day, we had the good old boys. I'm not saying these guys particular, but the big schools, you ask how do they always get big players. Back in the days when Bo Schegelecher and Woody Hayes were going, you know, toe-to-toe battling, and them good old boys down south, they were all trying to beat the great Paul Bear Bryant, and even Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. Even if you come out to the West Coast, you had the great Donnie James up at Washington, and then down south we had, you know, John McKay coaching at USC. Even Donahue at UCLA. They always had the squeaky clean images. I don't think any of them got hit with improprieties. I think something happened to Washington back in the day. I don't recall what it was, but I think they got hit with some type of sanction. But there was not as much media when those teams were dominant, Big C. I know the University of Miami, their football team, when they had, who are the good old boys that used to party with? Michael Irvin, those guys. And who was the other one that got in trouble? Warren Sapp. Yeah, all of them. Was it Highsmith, that running back?
Highsmith.
Yeah. So
You know, tons of players.
They
had them all. I mean, you name it, Miami had it. Even The Rock played down there as a backup.
Yeah.
The great wrestler.
Yeah. And so when they had things going on, they partied with a group called 2 Live Crew, and they kind of glamorized what happens when the women are in there and the men and these young boys are 19, 20, 22 years old. They're big and strong and fast, but they don't have the money to fly these women in on whatever, however they get there and supply all the party and the crystal and all that jazz. There's always an influence, and we just got to tell our young men, don't be like the president. And that's a shame. I'm not even being flippant. You can't even have President Trump right now to be someone that kids can look up to. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but he glamorized that type of behavior that got the Louisville boys in trouble. And it's a shame that Pitino's the only one being called to the carpet, Big C. Your thoughts, and we'll get on to something else.
Well, Charlton, you know, as you point out, voters, you know, the leader of the free world who can't speak up against any sexual misconduct going on anywhere in the country.
No.
And that's a sad thought that you have the leader, and he can't talk about protecting women, defending women in any kind of way.
No.
You know,
And he doesn't.
He talks about everything else, but
Yeah.
he doesn't talk about helping and saving women from predators out there, Charlton, or impropriety, you know, situations.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we say, this is something that's always going to go on. These institutions have it.
Yeah.
You know, it happens in college football, it happens in pro football, Charlton, and basketball and baseball, all of these sports. This is what American society is allowed to occur. So, you know, as it's gone on, and you only want to stop it at the player level.
Yeah, at the player level.
The player level is not where it begins.
They don't have the money.
It's where it ends.
Yeah, they don't have the money to make it happen, see? And I'm glad you brought that up because we all got to keep kids safe, especially women. You know, men too, but men tend to be able to take better care of themselves. Maybe I'm being naive, but we just got to keep women safe in our society. So whenever this stuff goes on, there's always somebody, sometimes they're coerced into it, who knows? But we want to make sure that we keep an eye for everybody, not just naming Rick Pitino. I do want to say that sports is $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry, and every sporting event needs athletic and event insurance. You can get it through Big C Sports. We go through Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century, Big C. And you tweet out to them or you find them on the internet. Let them know Charlton and Big C sent you. They give you something special. But I also want to bring up this point, Big C. We talk about money, and we talked about what happens in the world of high-priced entertainment. And Las Vegas has captured the market on high-priced entertainment. We have this money grab going on, and I love the sport. I love the UFC. I love MMA. I love boxing. I love that blood and guts business. The UFC is a brutal business, and MMA is very difficult for any average guy. I don't care how big and strong you are. You get in the ring with those guys, you're going to be tapping out in about 30 seconds. Now we have McGregor, and we have Floyd Money Mayweather, who's very, very wealthy. Doesn't need the fight, but why does he need the money? I think you never have too much money, Big C. Are you going to be one of the knuckleheads that spends money on this fight like I will? Your thoughts? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But, there's going to be so many people, Johnson, because this is a cross-sector
Yeah.
of people who like boxing and MMA.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go out and purchase this pay-per-view, and it's going to be anywhere from $80 to $150
Yeah.
a set
Yeah.
that they're going to be watching. But, this happened back in the 70s with Ali and Oki
Yeah.
out of Japan, where we had the same type of event occur.
Yeah.
And so this is not going to be a competitive fight. McGregor is used to grabbing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Grabbing people, elbowing, kicking, all of these things. He now has to fight.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if his skills are good enough to land more than 5 punches in the fight. And he can only land those when Mayweather get close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's not going to be able to pursue him and run him down. And, he might want to grab him and try to rough him up in a corner. That's as close as he's going to get.
Yeah.
This is about spectatorship. It's what it's about. It's not about, the elegance of boxing, because it's going to be at the boxing rules.
Yeah.
But this is about how many spectators and how many dollars we can create. That's what this is all about, because anybody who's watched the two sports knows that they're far and few in between the talents between the two competitors.
Yeah.
And Mayweather is just too quick of an individual. We saw something like this when Tyson and Holyfield fought.
Yeah.
Is that Holyfield was too much of an athlete at the time when he fought Tyson, because a lot of his skills had diminished.
Yeah.
And he waited long enough for that to occur.
Yeah.
He didn't want to fight him in his prime like anybody
Nobody.
Yeah. Holyfield said, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Go away eventually. And so that's what happened.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing when you look at Mayweather.
Yeah.
His skills are still at the elitist level.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't be a competitive match in any way with McGregor. He's going to have his followers.
Yeah.
But these followers are just going to be whitewashed, because they're going to go in there with this notion that he can be that MMA fighter. And think about this, Charlton.
Yeah.
His fights normally lasted less than 5 minutes. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
One round. I mean, the average.
Yeah.
They were over in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be like the Ali Foreman. When Ali said about Foreman, it's been a long time since George heard round 3.
Yeah.
Round 5.
Yeah.
Round 7.
Yeah.
Round 11. He had to hear that. So with the psyche, and that's going to be the thing with McGregor.
Yeah.
When they get to round 3 and he's had to fight for 9 minutes, he's going, wait a minute. I can see a good check right now.
Yeah.
I'm back in the locker room.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a big turn in his fight, Joe.
Yeah, and let me ask you this question though, Big C. I know they say who benefits more? Does boxing benefit more, or does the MMA benefit more? I'm going to say the MMA benefits more, and I'll tell you why. McGregor's the top of the heap right now for the MMA because of the hype. He had a fight with Diaz, and I thought Diaz won both fights, but obviously you can't have your championship guy get knocked out twice or tapped out twice. But Diaz is out of stock, and I thought he beat him, but, I'm not the guy calling the fight, though. But if McGregor, he's going to lose, obviously, unless Las Vegas is so deep off the deep end of the pool that they have some type of lucky knockout to get rematch too. But the boxers, I think about the great boxers that Floyd Mayweather came after in his weight class. Think of Thomas Hitman Hearns. I think of Sugar Ray Leonard. I think of Roberto Duran. You think about some of those fighters, and when they fought Big C, it was not something that was just made up to get money out of people. We were really going to these fights to see who was the best fighter in the world. On the boxing side, do you think that boxing is disappointed that they're going to bring in some guy who hasn't even earned the right to be in the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather, who's undefeated? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, if you look at boxing is just like golf right now. It's on a resuscitator.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
They need some way to revitalize this sport because MMA is bypassed as far as viewership and interest.
Yeah.
Because they're fighting like every weekend. They don't wait every 6 months.
Yeah.
They're fighting every weekend in the MMA.
Yeah.
But the real benefactor from this, the cable network that gets it was CEO of Showtime.
Yeah.
That's the real benefactor of this fight.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at their coffers of how they're going to fill them up because of the fan interest. But boxing needs this more than the MMA needs this,
Yeah.
Charlton, because there's a big MMA event all the time.
Yeah.
And there's main people fighting. When you look at boxing, tell me 5-10. You can't, Charlton.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't tell me 5 broke. And I don't know unless you just a boxing aficionado right now
Yeah.
that anyone else can, Charlton.
Right.
Because there's so many weight classes and just knowing who's who.
Yeah.
When you look at the MMA, Charlton, it's electricity in a bottle.
Yeah.
Every fight. I mean, you don't go there and watch heavyweights dance around for 9 of the 10
And run from
rounds,
each other.
and throw
Yeah.
12 punches, the whole fight.
Yeah.
MMA, I mean, they're throwing them from the time they walk in the ring.
Yeah.
Spitting on each other. Elbows,
Yeah. And
so when you talk about pure excitement, who needs this? Boxing needs the infusion.
Yeah.
To go out and say that we're as competitive as the MMA is. We can be as exciting as the MMA.
Yeah.
Because they've lost that young crowd.
Yeah.
And that's what boxing needs to be. They need to bring back that young viewer that the MMA has taken away.
Yeah.
It's like Major League Baseball. We turn on the TV and look at a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah.
The stadiums are only a third full.
Yeah.
And most stadiums have been downsized now, Charlton, to less than 45,000 seats.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, you look at an NBA arena where they all seat at least 20,000 fans, Charlton.
Yeah.
There's not an empty seat or an empty walkway in an arena.
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
plus thousand people.
Yep.
And yet you see all these youthful faces. I'm watching the championship series. I saw so many kids, okay, in the stands. The
Yeah.
parents brought them along.
Yeah.
But when you see kids now in the playgrounds, you don't see them out playing baseball.
No.
You see them playing basketball.
Playing basketball all the time.
Basketball has stolen the youth of America, even more so than what football has. Even though football is America's pastime,
Yeah.
you can get a basketball game together in a hurry.
Yeah.
You need one ball.
Yeah.
A baseball team, you need gloves and a bat.
And bat, yeah.
Depending on where you live, you don't have the field or the equipment to play.
Yeah.
Same as football. You need too much space to play football in certain cities.
Yeah.
Basketball, there's basketball courts everywhere.
Yeah.
So the youth of America has gravitated to that, just like the youth of contact sports have gravitated to the MMA versus boxing, because you can see main MMA combatants every month.
Yeah.
Where in boxing, when was the last time Mayweather fought?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. It's been a while, and I tell you, I remember back in the day growing up, I remember it was ABC Wild World of Sports. I think it was Chris Shingle, and I believe it was him, The Thrill of Victory, The Agony of Defeat, and people love the blood sport. I remember waiting up to see Muhammad Ali fight, whether he was fighting George Foreman or whether he was fighting somebody else, whether it was a Frazier fight or a Holmes fight, just watching, getting ready for Ali. It was kind of a family event. When I cover the MMA fights up in Northern California, there's so much energy because it's a blood sport. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to see guys bleeding. But I think the blood sport is one of the reasons that people love it. It's as close as we can come to the gladiators. And even back in the day when I was growing up, some guys would settle their arguments by fighting. They wouldn't try to get a gun and shoot at somebody. They would put, fist to glove. I mean, fist to fist. It was not even about having gloves on, Big C. They would just fight, and the guy would get beaten up so bad, he said, you had enough? He said, well, have you had enough? He's like, yeah, okay, well, we're good. And they buy each other a beer, Big C. I see that the MMA, I see that the UFC. It's so exciting, and I think it's going to benefit the UFC more because now they get to see this guy that makes all the money in the world. And you know how ego in men and athletes comes. They're going to think, well, this guy's, I don't know if Mayweather worth $1 billion or not, but he definitely gets fights where the person's always like $100 million or more, it seems. Some of these MMA guys, they fight for like $1,000 a night in every local town. Sometimes $2,000 might be the prize. Now, when you're McGregor and you get the $1 million, obviously he's exciting. but it gives everyone a chance to think, I can beat that guy. I can make that kind of money. Is that the kind of pull? Is that why it's so exciting for fans, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you think about the roots of the MMA, Charlton, just like boxing, where little kids would go into the local gyms at the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club and box around. The MMA, when it started out, Charlton, it basically started as a barroom scenario.
Yeah.
The back parking lot.
Yeah.
And anybody could come in off the street and make a few $100 just going out and wrestling and boxing with somebody else.
Yeah.
And it grew from that to where it's become a very regulated sport in America and around the world.
Yeah.
And it's always been big in Asia and Europe. America was the last to get that type of sport, but Asia was always big for years.
Yeah.
And now, when you look at the escalation of it, Charlton, where it's gotten to, and because of the frequency, if you go back to the 80s, or when you had the WWE, WWF, whatever it was, when they were having their big events, where they would help, the first one was held in the Detroit, the Silver Dome, where they had over 80,000 spectators. Okay.
Yep.
And I can't remember what they call slam or whatever they are, but they've had some 80 events. Now, when you look at the MMA, I mean, they're up to 150, 200 already. Main events that they've had. Yeah. So this is what America wants. They want continuum. When we see the NBA Finals, we saw a game every 2 nights. Basically.
Yeah.
And it was wait to see TV.
Yeah.
Everybody set their clock for that tip-off time. Everybody was ready.
Yeah.
And that's what the MMA has brought to America. It's like, okay, I know what I can do in 2 weeks. I can be at an MMA event.
Yeah.
And Vegas has made it its home because they have so many arenas at all these different casinos that seat anywhere from 15 to 20,000 spectators. And not only that, you have the gaming aspect attached right there in the arena.
That's big.
So you have people that can make wages up into and even during the contest.
Yeah.
So the money that's there to be made in and out of the ring has made this so exciting because it's like the rest of the major sports in America. It's played consistently throughout the weeks. It doesn't come along every 6 months, Charles.
And you don't need expensive equipment like in golf to go out and play it. So I think the popularity, Dana White, you can just call him a genius. I know a lot of people doubted that the MMA would take off, but I think he bought it for $2 million. It's worth $1 billion now, something of that nature. So congratulations to him. $4 billion. Okay, I didn't mean to cheat money out of him, because he's so profit. I'm sorry. You kind of open your eyes twice when the guy shortchanged you $2 billion at the bank. I understand. But I just want to say congratulations to him as a promoter of a fight that he's really taken and is crossing borders, Big C. People love the fight business. And as we get ready to close out our show, I just want to say, just being down south, Big C, the San Diego Chargers holding their final practice in San Diego. And they're going to be going up north in Southern California to Costa Mesa now, where they will start playing, doing their practice sessions. And they're going to be playing their games at the StubHub Center in Southern California, in Carson, California, which is south of Los Angeles, in about a 27,000-seat stadium. They're going to add some seats to it. I just think it's a shame because the Chargers organization, a very proud organization with the Spanos family, and obviously they could not get San Diego to give them a new stadium, but that stadium has hosted Super Bowls. I don't know why they had to leave just because they couldn't wait another year to try to sweeten the deal for the taxpayers. But I think it's a shame that they take these athletes that are accustomed to playing in front of 70,000 and they're going to have them in a 27,000-seat stadium, plus or minus 3,000 fans. I just want to get your thoughts on what that means. If you imagine going to a football game down south of Alabama and they played in front of 27,000, is that a slap on the face to the fans? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, it's going to take a lot of these players talking on the Chargers roster back to some high schools that they played at.
Yeah.
And some players played in junior college, and it's going to take them to that level.
Yeah.
But I think the NFL did something wrong with Goodell, allowing the team to leave before the stadium was ready or having an adequate facility to house an NFL team in. You look at the Raiders, even though they're going to leave the Bay Area, Charlton, they're going to wait till the stadium is finished in Las Vegas. They're not going to go down and play in San Boy Silver Bowl where UNLV plays that seats about 32,000 fans in that heat. They're not going to do that. They're going to wait until they have the proper facility to move. I know the NFL, I thought they learned years ago when the Houston Royals moved to Tennessee. Okay?
Yeah.
And they had to play in Knoxville at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, this college facility that only held 42,000, Charlton. I thought the NFL may have learned their lesson at that point, but that's back when Paul Tagliabue was the commissioner, and I guess, you know, now with your buddy Goodell,
Yeah.
We saw this with the Rams last year, okay?
Yeah.
Sell out the first 4 home games.
Yeah.
But when you lose 4 in a row, 40% of those fans don't show up anymore.
Yeah.
So you go from 90,000 to 60,000.
Yeah.
You lose 2 out of the next 3 games, Charlton. You're at 47,000.
Yeah.
In the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Which looks ugly.
Yeah.
Now you got a 30,000 seat stadium. The Chargers haven't had a good season in the last 2. Okay.
Yeah.
They haven't won more than 5 games.
Yeah.
Now let them get off to a 1-4 start. You got 30,000 fans.
Yeah.
Ugly with 20,000 fans in the stadium.
Yeah, that's pretty bad when
ugly for television and everybody else.
it is bad when the Lakers at Staples Center have a sellout crowd that's almost as much as you have at an NFL football game. But that's, people who have money and ego, sometimes they don't always mix too well, Big C. But going into this week is a great Thursday today. We talked about the Warriors, their celebration. Congratulations, Golden State, your second championship celebration in 2 years, and the first time they've ever celebrated a championship that was won on a Bay Area court. You looked at when they won last time, they were in Cleveland. Before that, I think they were back east when they won back in Washington when they won in the 70s. You look at the Giants, they'd have not won a World Series in San Francisco. They were always on the road. The A's, I believe the A's won one at home back in the 70s, but I might be missing that one, Big C.
But
and then you look at the 49ers, they're all their championships except for the one in Palo Alto. They were on the road because, of course, the Super Bowl has a predetermined site. So just great to see the fans of Oakland celebrating the way they have. Everybody had a great time. So I'm really proud of the Golden State organization. And then we talked about, going down south with LeBron James go. We don't know. And so hopefully they're going to figure that out. I'd like to see him stay on the East Coast. We talked about the McGregor and Money Mayweather fight. Floyd has so much money. He's a marketing genius. I don't know what else he can do, but to me it doesn't make any sense to have this fight. But I think the $175 million makes all the sense in the world, Big C. And we talked about the Chargers playing in front of about 27,000 people. Big C, I want to get your thoughts on what you're looking forward to coming up this week, Big C.
Well, Charlton, we're looking at the PGA Championship. Who will rise? Ricky Fowler had, shot a 7-under in the first round. Can he stay consistent? That's the one thing about golf, having consistency. Does the weather hold up?
Yeah.
We have a void now that the NBA season is over, Charlton. Everybody is exhaling, trying to figure it out. Baseball now, the boys of summer. It's their time to shine.
Yeah.
We got George, Greg, and with the Yankees just tearing up the
Yeah.
baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Also, the Dodgers have a young rookie that's on fire.
Yeah.
So, this is where we are. We got the WNBA that is kicked off. The women are playing basketball once again. But, it's always an exciting time in America. You got the OTAs that are going on this weekend.
Yeah.
With all the NFL clubs and stuff. So everybody's getting into the swing of things. And so we're never devoid of sports in America.
Yeah.
There's always something for somebody to watch, something to talk about. We're going to have to let the NBA rest for a little while and get rid of the rumors because nobody's doing anything right now.
Yeah.
And just get ready for some good old moonshine.
We love moonshine, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball. And every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. We want to tell you there's never, ever any reason to ever put your hands on a woman. If you know any woman in trouble, just call 911. No woman should have to deal with that garbage on her own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.